Hello and welcome back to In Conversation with Nissy Tee. So the guest that we have on the show today is a very special guest. Lives a pretty much normal life, spending time with family, with friends, working, except they made a very, very big decision. A decision to transition from being a man into a woman. And today we're going to dig a little bit deeper into that decision. Today on the sofa we have the incredible Drew. How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I am so good. Thank you so much for joining us.
No problem, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. And by the way, you look fabulous. I love your eyebrows.
Thank you, girl.
Your eyebrows are doing a lot. Thank you. You know, I had to try. I know that you're a makeup artist, so I said I really have to make an effort. So I went to go and get my makeup done.
Well, the thing is, I was going to come super natural, and then I was like, no, you're a makeup artist, let's do this.
That's it. You have to represent.
You have to represent.
Yeah, of course. Now, first things first, I want to kind of dive straight in and just ask you, you know, I kind of introduced you already and I said you decided to transition from being a man into a woman. So what would you say you identify yourself as?
As a transgender woman.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And so what does that mean to you?
Well, the reason why I'd always put transgender before woman is because that is my journey, that is my story. You are transitioning from one to the other.
Right.
So I think it's always important to put that there.
Yeah.
Some choose not to, but me personally, I think it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, definitely. And I think that's something that we're going to dig into a little bit later on as well. That kind of defining, you know, what it is that you define yourself as, how you identify yourself as. But first things first, let's talk a little bit about your childhood. So tell us a little bit about how you grew up.
So I grew up all brothers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh, a house full of
Crazy.
boys.
Crazy.
Okay.
My older brother, he's only 18 months older than me. And then I have a younger brother who is 7 years younger than me. And then the youngest is 15 years younger than me.
Oh, wow. Big gap.
It's a massive gap between me and the two younger ones.
Yeah.
The older one now works away, so we don't see him as much.
Right.
So like the two youngest ones live with my mum.
Okay.
But yeah, honestly, like, it was just, I guess, an average household. My parents divorced when I was 15.
Okay. How was that for you? Taking that?
It was alright, actually. I feel like it's the best decision that my mum made.
Wow.
Not like, no shade to my dad, but I just feel like
of course,
was,
yeah.
In hindsight, like it was better for both of them, I guess.
Right.
So,
Yeah. So, you know, going through transitions as a child anyway, we all know you go through that stage where you're in school, you're kind of getting to know yourself, you're like, figuring out, you know, at first you don't like boys, or, you know, girls are like, ew, don't like girls, etc. But then you start to get a little bit older and you start to kind of see certain things within yourself. Would you say that in your childhood there were moments where because you always hear stories about people that are like, oh yeah, you know, when I was young I'd wear my mum's clothes or I'd go through her lipstick. Was that a similar story to yours?
The thing is, my mum had a makeup set, and I swear it was her only makeup set for like 20 years.
Oh my gosh,
because like she's not like a person who wears makeup at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would like just wear my mum's clothes and stuff, and my dad used to beat my ass. Like literally, like he's mixed race. He's half Caribbean, half Jamaican. So in his household, that things like that were like a no, 100%.
Right.
But like I'm not trying to make him sound bad, but I think he just did what he was shown. Like if you behave in a certain way, it's not acceptable.
Right.
And
so what he would like catch you putting on makeup.
I would put like a t-shirt on my head, and then like just pretend that it was like hair, and it would have to be a yellow t-shirt. My mom's got blonde hair.
Oh, okay. So
I know.
it was like blonde hair that you put on.
So weird. I'm like, look at me now.
Wow.
But yeah, so that was kind of what it was like. I didn't grow up in like a strict household.
Okay.
Just certain things. Like my dad was very much a man who demands respect rather than earns it. So I think that I've been brought up with that. I did idolize my dad growing up, and it wasn't until I went to therapy that I unlocked a memory that I kind of just suppressed.
Wow.
And I didn't realize that I suppressed it.
Yeah.
So when I was about 5, 6, my dad came home from work. No, let me stop you. Basically, I said to my mum, I'm a girl. Wow. I know it. I know.
At 5 years old?
At 5. I was like, I'm a girl. I know I'm a girl.
Wow.
And my mum was like, yeah, all right, just don't tell your dad. And I was like, well, that's not really kind of giving me like an answer. It's kind of just like shushing me in a sense. So I was like, why can't I tell my dad? Me and my dad have a good relationship. Imagine like you're 5 years old, like kind of trying to figure this out.
Right.
So my dad comes in from work and I'm like, Dad, I'm a girl. I'm not joking. That's the first time I'd ever seen my dad cry.
Wow.
Ever. And I shut up. Like, I was literally like, oh my gosh, why is he crying? And he was like sobbing. And I was like, I've done something bad. Like, I've done something wrong. So I never spoke about it again. Never. Like, I never brought it up. Wow. Never even thought about it. I was like, it traumatized me.
Wow.
So when I went to therapy at the age of like 23, we spoke about childhood. And for some reason, it's like she was kind of digging, and I was like, she was asking the right questions. She wasn't being too invasive. And that was one of the things. She was like, you idolized your dad. Like, how was your relationship with him? And she was like, and because I started to express maybe a bit of like resentment, she wanted to understand where the resentment came from. Because I think at that point, I didn't know where the resentment came from.
Wow.
So then once I kind of opened up about it, like in therapy, I did actually cry because I was thinking, like you actually suppressed this for so long, for like almost 20 years.
Wow.
So yeah, that was an eye-opener for me.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's when I kind of was like, oh shit, this is why you feel so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Why you feel like your skin is not your own, in a sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, kind of made sense.
Yeah, and would you, even till this day, would you say that you've had conversations with your dad since? You know, how have those kind of conversations been? How did that develop from that moment where he cried till now?
Well, to be fair, like growing up and identifying as a gay male, my dad was never okay with that. He just wasn't. Like, it just made him feel Like,
okay, so wait, let's take a little bit of a step back, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Okay, so at 5 years old, you turned around and said, I know I'm a girl.
Yes.
To your mum, right?
To my mum.
But then you're saying that you identified as a gay male.
So then basically, as I got older, again, from like 5, I didn't explore. Like, you have to realize that gender and sexuality are two different things. Okay. We have to separate the two.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
So I've always been attracted to men. Okay. Always.
Right.
So I didn't start exploring sexuality until I was like my teens.
Okay.
Naturally.
Right.
So I've always been into guys. So then, because obviously then I'd been a teenager, I was a boy. You would have to, again, the only thing I could identify as was a gay guy. Right. So, but still, like, something didn't feel right to me. Right. Always. When I got, like, people say to me, like once you, like, go to college and you meet, like, other gay guys and you guys go out and, like, you go into the scene, it's going to be, like, your kind of thing. So I was like, okay, all right, cool. Like, I'm going to, like, persevere.
Let me
like,
try and make it work.
Try and make this work, right? And then as I got older and I met I made gay friends, I still felt like the girl with a group of guys. Wow. I still felt it. And I couldn't say it. I was like, this just doesn't feel like me. Like, people said that it was like, it would get better. And people said that you would feel like this. But it's like, you can't let people tell you who you are. Right. You have to let people know who you are. And that's one thing that I learned. Right. Like, and when I started my journey, I was like, never, ever let someone tell you who you are ever again. Right. You've had to do this on your own. Right. And your journey is your own. You can't let someone tell you, or anyone tell you, whether they're close, distant, whatever, who you are. You just can't. You know it and you feel it.
Now, talking of, you know, a child that's 5 years old, that is really young. Like, you're a baby. Yeah. You're a baby. So 5 years old, you're what, in the UK, that's it's like, have you even started school? Year 1?
Something like that.
Right. Yeah, so you're a baby. So what can you remember what was going through your head in that moment where you finally said, I have to say this? What were you thinking? Were you looking at yourself in the mirror differently? Were you looking at your private parts and thinking, this doesn't feel right? What was going through your head at that time?
I think it was because actually, like, when you go to school, I was always with a group of girls, and I literally, like, being around them, it felt so natural to me, but I was always reminded, you're not a girl. You're not a girl. And it was said to me, like, by teachers, by other students, like, remember, you're not a girl. You're not a girl. You can't make up dances. You can't do this. You can't do that. And I was literally like, why are they saying this to me? Like, it's not that. I feel like I am, though. So, and I never saw it as an issue. And then I think that's what made me go home and speak to my mum. Wow. So
it was in that moment that you, 5 years old, decided to pluck up the courage and say, listen, this is what it is, and this is who I'm going to be. So then when did you start actually transitioning now? So obviously you said you spent a period of time identifying as a gay male, when did you actually decide, I'm going to become a woman, basically?
Okay, so I went to New York 22 on my own. I was trying to pursue music at the time.
So, can you sing?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, we're not going to do that right now.
Oh. You know that we might have to, okay.
So
I might have to put you on the spot a little bit later, but it's okay, we'll get through this.
Okay. So basically, I went to New York on my own, and it was kind of like a journey of self-discovery. And I felt like I put so much time and effort into my music, again, just like not really focusing on myself, rather on something. Or again, like in my group, I kind of would always focus on what everyone else was doing and helping everyone else fulfill their like wants and needs and dreams and aspirations. So when I went to New York, it was the first time I focused on myself. And I kind of was just like, when I got back, I was like, something still feels uncomfortable. It's like wearing a really tight top and you can't take it off. It's like, and everyone's like, you can't take that off. You've got to bath in it, you've got to go out, you've got to mix and mingle, you've got to work out, you've got to do this, do that. Everything is in this tight top and you are not allowed to take it off.
Wow.
And that's what it feels like. It feels like you're suffocated in a sense.
Right.
Until I was just like, I'm going to cut this motherfucking top off.
How old were you when you decided to do that?
23.
23.
Yeah.
So you were just like, yeah, I'm done.
I'm done with this shit.
And how was the response with, obviously you've spoken about your immediate family, so your mum and your dad. What about your siblings? How did they feel? Because in all honesty, I think if, for example, my sibling was to come and say, because I've only got sisters, so there's 4 girls, so it was more a house of girls than boys.
Yeah.
If my sister was to come to me and say to me, I'm a man, I think it would almost be like the death of my sibling. I feel like I would have to go through a bit of a mourning process because that's who I knew, and now you're turning into something completely different. Did your like any of your siblings ever mention anything similar, or were they just kind of like, well, if this is who you are, then this is who you are? How was it?
So
was their response?
The brother that's younger than me, younger than me, he was very much like, this actually makes sense.
Wow.
Like watching you grow up and stuff, like this makes sense. Like he was like, I'm proud of you, whatever. Like it's gonna be a bit of a change, but he was like, I'm rocking. Yeah, he was like, I'm rocking with you. Like,
wow,
Braggo, straight away.
Yeah.
So the youngest one, he was 9 at the time. I think he was like 9 or 10. 9. I think he was 9, and he is autistic.
Okay.
So change is not a thing for him at all.
Wow.
So we had a conversation. I used to like take him on like days out and stuff, and we'd go like and do like his favorite things for the day and stuff. Yeah. Because I was very like prominent in his upbringing. Yeah. So I took him out and I was like, look, Jake, this is what's happening right now. I don't know if you understand, but you can ask me anything. That's and amazing. I was like, I have to change my name. And he was like, but why? Oh. And I was like, it's just something that I feel like I have to do. Right. So again, like at first I was a little bit impatient. I can't lie. I was very guilty of being impatient with my immediate family. Yeah.
Why is that? But
I don't know. I feel like
as responsive.
No, I feel like they were just making genuine mistakes. I was just being a bitch. Okay. So in that, like I'm being honest. I have to be. I feel like I just wasn't. Yeah, I wasn't as patient. But then I think once we had the conversation properly, because it wasn't straight away that I had the conversation with him. I kind of told my mum and my other brother first. Okay. Jake was like the last one. Okay. So it was like, once I had that conversation and we had that moment, again, like I feel like that's where I kind of relaxed and was like, you don't have to rush this. Yeah. It's happening. Like, have patience with everyone because it's a transition for everyone as well. Yeah. Like, so from then, it's been fine. Yeah. Like, it literally, like, my little brother is, like, my world. Like,
so sweet. And what about your friends? Because obviously your friends knew you as one person, and then now, you know, again, getting used to you as a whole new individual. What was it like kind of having that conversation with them?
I was scared because I have 2 best friends and they're twins. Yeah. And
as in your best friends with both of them?
Yeah, best friends with both of them, yeah. Okay, yeah. So that was scary because I was like, if I lose the twins, I don't know what I'm going to do. Wow. And I could even cry thinking about it because I'm so close to them. Yeah. So I was like, shit. And one of them, again, got it like straight away. She was like, this makes sense. Right. And the other one was kind of like, bitch, what? Yeah.
Like, like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, so I was like,
huh?
so I had to like really break it down for her.
Right.
And I think over time, again, patience,
Yeah.
understanding, and I think love comes into it as well
100%.
when you just love someone.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I've not really changed personality-wise.
Yeah.
I think I set healthier boundaries now.
Okay.
For
What does
myself.
that mean for you?
Like, I kind of just don't put anyone else before myself.
Okay.
You know, unless it's like immediate family, or again, if it's like the twins or something,
Right.
then it is what it is. But
Yeah.
I don't need to focus on anything else but myself, which is what I did before
Were
to
you
kind
like-
of fill that void or like kind of
Okay.
distract me.
Yeah.
So I think that once I kind of set those healthy boundaries, there's a few people that I guess were just benefiting from that, benefiting
wow.
from the fact that I was just so involved in their life and helping them. They kind of just fell off, but that wasn't many.
Yeah.
That wasn't many at all. So
fair
yeah,
enough.
I'm very, very fortunate. Very fortunate.
Yeah.
with-
Yeah, I did want to ask actually, what is the extent of your transition? I.e., have you had surgery? Have you had anything done? And I still look something there, but I was just wondering, have you had
This is
anything
hormones.
done?
Sorry, I moved on. This is hormones.
Wow,
So yeah,
okay.
I imagine I want to go bigger, like in my chest, but everyone's like, why?
How much bigger do you want to?
I just want to go like a double D.
Oh,
But
wow,
obviously,
okay.
like for me, not for
Okay.
anyone else, for myself.
Yeah.
But no, so I actually have my second
Mm-hmm.
appointment coming up to discuss my surgery down below. So I am pre-op.
Are
I'm
you?
happy
Okay.
to say that it's my truth. And
So
it
you
is what it
haven't.
is.
So you haven't had surgery yet.
I haven't had surgery
but
yet.
you're planning to undergo.
So yeah, so I've
Right.
had my first appointment.
Right.
Kind of just talked through everything, what's going to happen.
Right.
So, like, they kind of just went through my journey with me and everything. So you have the second appointment. You have to get 2 OKs from a doctor.
Right.
So I've had my first OK. I'm going to go for my second OK. Once I get my second OK, I'll meet the surgeon.
Right.
The surgeon will assess everything, and then we'll just go from there.
Yeah.
So it's in process.
Okay.
I do feel like I will feel a lot more complete once
Okay.
it's done.
Right.
But again, I'm a realist. I understand that it's not everything that's going to happen overnight.
Yeah.
And in just a short amount of time, like look how far I've come already.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's. I knew it wasn't going to happen overnight.
Right.
So
this is probably just for myself because I'm crazy nosy. So
Okay.
I just
No,
have
no,
to
go,
ask,
go, go,
right?
go, go.
So talking through the process, what exactly is the first step? I.e., and I know this is going to sound a bit graphic, okay? So I do apologize.
No.
But is it literally a case of just one day you come in and they basically chop your penis off and then they restructure it, or how does it work? And excuse my ignorance.
No,
if I sound
that's
ridiculous,
absolutely fine.
But genuinely, this is like the image that you have. That's like they'll just get rid of your penis, then structure of it, and I'm just like, will you be able to feel? Will you? I don't know. How does it work?
Okay, so I want to say that everyone's experience has been different from what I've researched.
Okay.
I kind of just, again, was talking about this earlier, YouTube tells you everything.
Yeah,
So like
literally.
there's like actually like a 5-minute like video, like it's like a cartoony video of how they do it.
Oh, wow.
There's 2 different ways of how to
I
do
need
it.
to watch that. Just-
So
yeah.
I can't really explain it because I'm, in science, I fell asleep and stuff. So I just,
Don't worry,
I'm not
science
really,
is
like-
not my
it's
strong
not my
point. Math,
strong point.
science, definitely not my strong
no,
point.
it's not.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a 5-hour operation.
Wow.
So it's quite invasive. The from what I know, the recovery process is about 2 to 3 months. But then I think once it's done, it's done. So I always say, like, my friends always joke with me, like, Pumpum pending.
Oh my
So
God.
yeah, sorry.
Oh my God.
So yeah, we joke about it because I just think, like,
Yeah.
again, you just can't be serious about everything.
Yeah.
It's a serious thing.
Yeah, of
And I
course.
take it very seriously.
Of
But I'm
course.
just not going to be, like,
Yeah.
unnecessarily, like, about it.
Yeah.
It's just not my style.
And does it cost a lot? Is it a
So
lot
that's
of
the
money?
only thing that the NHS pay for. And it's a
Really?
very long waiting list, yeah.
Oh, wow. So how long have you been on the waiting list?
3 years.
3 years on the waiting list.
Wow. Yeah, so you have to do all this stuff first, like meet doctors and surgeons and all that stuff first. Because they want to make sure that this is what you want.
Of course.
So, yeah, it's never been a hesitation for me.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, straight away.
3 years. That's a very, very long
Yeah. So they just make sure, like, and I think it's a long wait, but then I think to myself, it's necessary, because if after those 3-4 years are up and you're like, cool, I waited so long for this is what I want, then you would be an idiot if you woke up and was like, I regret this.
I regret doing this.
Sorry to anyone that's ever had that. I mean, there's like 1% of people, but I do think like... Okay, cool.
Which is actually a good question, because I was going to ask you as well, like, have you ever had a moment where you're like, actually, this is not the decision that I want to make for myself, or any form of regret at any point, or any form of like, actually, no, I want to transition back? Because I've read up on some stories as well, where there's been people who have gone through the entire process and have turned around and been like, actually, I don't think I want this. Does that ever scare you? Is that a thought that you've ever even had?
No. I think because I've taken my time.
Yeah.
I think I got to an age where I was like, mentally ready. I know that some people do it younger and there are benefits to it, but I feel like for me, my journey, I started a lot later. So I think that that's what prepared me mentally. I had to make sure within myself that I was there. Like when I said to myself, this is it, this is the journey, I was like, you're going to face this and you're going to face that. People are going to say this and people are going to say that. And this is going to happen and you're going to have this, you're going to have that. Like I weighed out all the options. And each time I went through the boxes, I was like, yep. So I was like, cool. Yeah. Is what it is.
Yeah. And what would you say to some people who, I guess, kind of feel like, why make such a permanent decision on something that, so a lot of people would say biologically, this is because you said that there's a difference between gender and sexuality. That's how you define it as, right? Whereas some people wouldn't necessarily believe that. Some people might feel like, no, if you're born a man, you're a man. If you're a woman, you're a woman. Why make such a permanent decision? What would you say to those people?
For me, again, me personally, I didn't go into this straight away. And I know that a lot of people want the quick fix. It's not the way. It's not the way. You have to take your time, you know? And my circumstance wouldn't let me do the quick fix. So again, like you have to be mentally, emotionally, every type of prepared you can be to go through something like that. So once now we're like 4 years in, I'm just like, okay, by now I would have said something like, guys, I kind of fucked up here, but no, I feel like as each year goes, I become more and more myself. So that's how I see it. It's just more of a personal growth as well.
So something that I do have to ask you about is this whole identifying as X, Y, and Z. So obviously in the past, it was LGBT, then it became LGBTQ, then it became LGBTQ plus, and then now plus X. And, you know, some people have held the opinion that, and I think this is so silly of me, I should have looked into it more, but I think there was a politician or something that said something along the lines of, it's going too far. Okay. So if, for example, yourself, you identify as a trans woman, someone else identifies as a trans man, and now we've got non-binary as well, and they basically said something along the lines of, you know, what's next? Are people now going to start identifying as a peanut, as a vase, as a plant pot, a lamp, whatever it is? What are some of your thoughts on how far it's going, or is there ever a line that we can
I think the reason why it has changed is because it's LGBTQIA+.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And the thing is, because people were left out, there's always been people who identify as asexual, or people who always identify
Which means
as asexual is when you don't really find either attractive. So I feel like those people were left out. And people who are non-binary, again, have always existed, but they were left out of LGBT. So I think as we obviously, more people started opening up and saying, actually, this is me, that's when it was like given the platform to change and alter the LGBT plus community. So I think that's where it went. In terms of someone saying I identify as a peanut, I think it's a bit of a piss take, because people don't take into consideration the journey. Right. They don't understand that people don't wake up one day and say, I'm a man, I'm a woman, I'm a trans man. You just don't. You realise that it's a journey. They don't understand the idea of feeling suffocated. They don't understand that, you know, this wasn't an overnight choice. This is a choice that you had to make very cautiously. The choice that you had to go through your emotions and your mental state, everything, the essence of who you are. You really had to explore that before you make this massive decision to fully transition. So I think that's what they don't take into consideration, and they don't take into consideration the history of it. That's why they can make such absurd comments like identify as a peanut or a lamb or something.
But to some degree though, you do have to question and think, can we ever go too far, in the sense that if someone did want to say that that's how I identify, what can I now say? Be like, no, you can't be that. Well, if that person can identify as a trans woman, or that person can identify as non-binary, I can identify myself as a pig.
I think, but the thing is, it's never left the human form.
Okay.
So if you can't turn around and say like, oh, well, if they can identify as a woman, then I can identify as a pig. It's like, well, actually, it's not left the human form.
Right.
So like now you are actually just being ignorant.
Right.
And I feel like that is done to create that narrative, and it is done to create, again, like, let me just tell you this, the media will come for any minority they want. And when they do, they come by force, okay? So now, who's at the bottom of the barrel is trans people. So every which way possible, they're going to try and destroy the narrative of trans people, and especially trans women. They never go for the trans men. No offense, I love the trans men, but they never ever go. It's always the trans women that they go for. Why? Because again, women are seen as weak.
Right.
Why are you not coming off for any trans men? You don't.
Right.
Even when they post trans men on the Shade Room, the comments aren't as offensive as they are if they post to the trans women.
Wow.
Because at the end of the day, again, the same way men, no, I haven't, can like come for women, or how like it's like a male-dominated world, and how suppressed women have felt. It's exactly the same when it comes to trans women. You're coming for trans women because you see us as weaker. Because at the end of the day, you come for a trans man, to you, really and truly, it's still a man.
It's still a man. Right.
You're not coming for him for a reason.
Right.
That's why.
No, fair enough. And, you know, something else that I did want to ask you about is just things that you've struggled with. What would you say was your biggest struggle as you transitioned into being a woman?
Employment.
Right.
Even within the last year, because I left the company that I was working for last year.
Oh, wow. Was that for a particular reason? Or
I can't talk about it for legal reasons.
No, fair enough.
But that was a mess. And then getting into employment this year was crazy. I was going for interviews after interviews after interviews and being turned away because I'm overqualified, or, you know, you go in.
I still find that so wild, how someone can be turned away from a job because they're overqualified. I find that crazy.
But you see it, because I don't know, like, when you go to a job interview, it's like, they're talking to you, and it's like, once they clock you, they're like, okay, let me wrap up this real quick.
Wow.
And
so you've actively felt that?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm just like, okay, cool. But what I notice is, because I don't really like to miss out anyone, and I'm for everyone, is, it happens to me because I'm trans, but it also happens to people because of the colour of their skin, because their religious beliefs, everything. So discrimination, again, there is no limit there. If you walk into a building, you happen to be different to everyone that works in that office, or everyone that works in that workplace, you're deemed an unnecessary risk.
Wow.
Regardless.
Wow.
So that's the one thing that I think I really want to tackle on, rather than being the first person who walks the Victoria's Secret runway. It's not necessary. Like, it's cool, it's fine, it's visible, it is what it is. I'm not like taking away from that, but I just think like, we don't all live in that media world. We live in the real world where you have to work and make a living. So why is it that I can't make a living just because I'm a trans woman, when I'm a talented makeup artist? It doesn't make any sense. Right.
So what would you say needs to be done about it?
I just think that there needs to be ways to apply for work, and people who conduct interviews to be a lot more open-minded. And does this person, regardless of who they are, have the talent to fulfill the job role, regardless of what that office or the people that work there are going to think? Right. Like, can they get the job done? Yeah. Yes. Cool. You're employed. Not, okay, cool, so you look like everyone that works here, you'll get along with so-and-so really well, we're going to employ you. No.
Yeah. No, fair enough. And something that I did want to ask you about actually was a comment that was made not too long ago, and I'm going to read the comment to you. And by the way, I wanted to make it very, very clear as well, just for people to know that, of course, you do not represent the entire transgender community. I think that's really, really important.
Very important.
Just because, you know, and we were talking about it a little bit earlier off camera, just saying that you are an individual, and some of the opinions you might hold might not necessarily align with a lot of the opinions of, you know, other people. But anyway, so this was a comment that a lot of people might oppose. A lot of people from the transgender community might oppose. So of course, a lot of transgender women or men would say, I'm a woman or I am a man. Whereas the novelist, actually, Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, in an interview that she did with Britain's Channel 4 News, she said, when people talk about are trans women, my feeling is trans women are trans women. So obviously there was a lot of uproar, there was a lot of backlash, because people felt as though she was basically trying to say that trans women are not really women. They're trans women. But at the beginning, you mentioned that you identify as a trans woman. What do you kind of think about the comment?
I completely agree with her, to be fair. Like, I do. I'm like, first and foremost, I'm a realist. Like,
right.
I know, like I said, going into biology, I know how I was born.
Right.
I'm very aware of it. So I understand that, again, when my journey started, I understand that I had to go through a process and to understand myself to make such an important decision.
Yeah.
So why am I then going to have a surgery and then erase that?
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Like, I'm not trying to get PTSD. I'm not trying to suppress anything anymore.
Right.
It's part of who I am. That is part of my journey.
Yeah.
So if someone says, oh, like, she's a trans woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Right. But see, this is the thing. I think it's so interesting that you say that, because I think that opinion is something that's actually frowned upon quite a lot. So it's funny because another, I don't know if you've ever heard of her. Have you heard of Flame Monroe?
Yes.
So I was watching an interview that, he
Breakfast
identifies as a
Club.
man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would say he was doing an interview on the Breakfast Club, and he made a very similar comment and was like, listen, I know that I'm going to get dragged online. I know that people are going to come for my neck. But at the end of the day, I know what I was born as, and I also know the transition I'm having. But a lot of people still feel as though if you say an opinion or have an opinion that goes against the main narrative, or the narrative that a lot of people are following, it's like all of a sudden you're being demonized, or you're being dragged online, or you can't have an opinion.
I think you can have a respectful opinion.
Right.
So I think what the issue was, it wasn't the message, it was the delivery. And at the end of the day, that's how he identifies.
Right.
Again, he said, he let you know.
Yeah, this
that's
is what I
him.
identify as. Yeah.
That's what I identify as. When he spoke about other trans women.
Oh, did you watch the interview?
Yeah, I was kind of like, you can't then speak for everyone else. And I think T.S. Madison, like, who's good friends with Flame, was kind of like, you can't speak for me. Because when you address me, it's she, hers. All the time. My transition is life. It's permanent. This is who I am.
Right.
Like, the fact that you choose to look a certain way, that's down to you, but you then can't come into the trans bracket. I feel like the trans bracket is so wide as well, and it's what confuses people. So yeah, I think that Flame had a point, but kind of missed the point at the same time. And she kind of spoke, I didn't actually say he kind of spoke on something that I feel like he doesn't identify as. So if you can't understand something,
right,
like, and you feel like it's not something that you identify as, then why is your mouth open?
What are kind of some of your thoughts on when people, I guess, maybe don't agree with, let's say, transgender or whatever, else falls into kind of like the LGBTQ plus X, I think that's right, community, but feeling as though, so if, for example, they said, no, I still want to refer to you, and I don't know if you've maybe ever had this, but you were born a male and I want to refer to you as that because that's not what I believe in. How does that conversation kind of go?
Well, it's the same because a family member of mine actually mentioned to my cousin, who I'm super close with, no, I'm not going to refer to them as her, it's he. And I was literally like, no offense, babe, but like, this person isn't in like my area, my space. I don't really care.
Right.
There's like, no, like, I'm just letting you know. I was like, that's fine, like, cool.
Right.
But all now, I've not run into that family member, so
right,
it doesn't, like, it's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, again, it's just about basic respect. And if you don't have basic respect for me, like the basic respect, we're not having a conversation. I'm not going to debate with you about my existence.
Right.
What's the point?
Yeah.
I'm here. So I'm not going to debate with you about it. It's not a debate.
Right.
This is who I am. And if you don't like it, then by all means, like...
So would you correct them if, for example, that you came face to face with them and they were like, oh, because obviously you said you changed your name, you changed, how you identify yourself as. But if they came and were like, oh, he, blah, 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 would you correct them?
I think I would correct at first.
Right.
And I'd make sure I was wearing the right appropriate footwear, that I had my hair tied back.
Oh my God.
You know, you just gotta make sure, because you know when someone's gonna pop up. So like, you just gotta like things, I would be like, cool. Like I would say like, you know, that's not how I identify. And if again, it become a challenge, I'd be like, all right, cool. Like I would just remove myself from the situation, because actually I used to be a person who like, I was ready. Like you want to start, I was ready.
Okay, I need to back up like just a little bit, just in case if things pop up now.
I went to a talk, right? And I learned a lot from this. Like I was like, how is it? Because I was getting tested a lot, like just by people in general. And I was like, how do you not respond? How do you not clap back? Especially when you got a good one. You know, when you could just rinse someone. You can
come for them real good.
If I just read
sometimes
you right
you
now.
just have to stay composed.
How do you do it? And then she was literally like, because it was like she was the talker, the speaker, and we were just random people in a room.
Right.
And she was like, well, here's a rotten apple. Take it then. And I was like, no, I don't want it. She was like, okay, cool. You've chosen not to take it.
Yeah.
So you can either like take it and hold it and whatever you want to do with it, that's your business, or you could go,
or you can
no.
just leave it.
I don't want it.
Yeah.
And that's it. And I thought, okay then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
But a lot of people have that mindset and that opinion that because they do identify as a woman, they say, no, I am a woman. Whereas a lot of people then might retaliate and say, because, you know, this is something that I'm sure an opinion that a lot of people hold, that almost feels like you're erasing the female experience, as in a woman that was born a woman. So something that a lot of people might say, for example, is, you know, I have periods. A transgender woman can't. I can get pregnant. A trans woman. Not that your existence or my existence is any better than the other. Hell no. Both of our existence are valid and important. But for example, I go through every single month where that damn period comes and I have to shove a tampon up there and I have to have cramps, etc. Have pregnant, hormonal things. So it can almost feel like the female experience is being erased. What are some of your thoughts on that?
I'm so glad that you brought that up, because again, a lot of my female friends, I always want to make sure that I don't offend them either, and I want to make sure that we're always on the same page.
Right.
So I completely agree. Like we obviously go through different things.
Right.
Hormonal things is quite similar.
Right.
Like when you take hormones, however which way you take them, you go through certain things. Your breasts are sore. You go through mood swings, like you just like emotionally you can't really control certain things. Obviously we don't bleed, and I know that's nothing that I'm ever gonna go through. But it's like at the end of the day, I know that's what you go through. Like with me, like when like some of my other female friends have periods and stuff, I'm like, hun, like, what do you want me to get you? Like, you know, I'm there to help. I'm there as an ally. I'm there to support women the same way that the women in my life support me.
Right.
I'm never, ever going to be the person to ever, like, deny that. The same way, if I turn around and just said, like, us women, like, my friends aren't going to go, oh, hold on a second. Like, you're a trans woman. It doesn't need to always be like that. It kind of just like, if it comes down to a technicality, 9 times out of 10 it doesn't. If it does, then obviously I'm a transgender woman.
So something that I have to ask you about is, of course, your love life. Okay? Because I'm sure that it's a bit of a process when you decide that you're going to transition, and now you have to kind of get your feel, or, you know, start to think about dating, etc. Have you been dating? Are you dating? What is it like?
I'm currently not dating.
Okay.
I've made that decision.
Okay.
Very recently.
Also, were you dating someone before that?
Yeah.
Okay. And so would you say this was a guy?
Yeah.
Okay, right.
Yeah. He was a guy.
Yeah.
Again, fully aware that I'm transgender.
Right.
He's a very nice guy. He's just a bit slow.
Oh, Lord.
You know how
what does
guys
that
move a bit slow?
Lord.
They just move a bit slow. So I was like, no.
What does that mean? A bit slow?
Like, you know when they just don't do the little things that matter more than the big things?
Oh,
like,
okay.
I was just like, no. Like, your communication is terrible.
Okay. Yeah.
But he was a gentleman. He was sweet. Very respectful.
Right.
Yeah, it just didn't work.
It just didn't work out.
It just didn't work.
Okay, so one thing that we kind of spoke about earlier actually is you have an opinion anyway that you should give people a choice.
Absolutely.
So you let people know in advance if someone's coming to talk to you, move to you, chirp to you, whatever you want to call it. You would basically tell them, oh, by the way, I am a transgender woman. Why do you think that's really important?
Because everyone deserves to know what they're getting themselves into.
Right.
It's a choice as well. Like, they deserve to have a choice whether that's something that they are interested in or not. Like, I've been in situations where I'm minding my own business, I'm on my way to work, or I'm going to meet friends, and I've had someone stop me and just be like, wow, like, you're so beautiful, da, da, da. I'm just like, oh, thanks, rest there. And they get talking like they're gonna ask for my number or something, and I'll be like, I just want to stop you right there. I just hope you're aware that I'm a trans woman. Some guys are like, yeah, I know. Like, yes, are we gonna Yeah. Or there's some guys that, you know what? I had no idea. Have a nice day. And I'm like, yeah, you too. And everyone's like, don't you find that embarrassing? No.
Right.
I'm not putting no one in a predicament. I'm not putting myself in a predicament. Like, again, I'm very much a person. Honesty is the best policy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to ever make someone feel like I've tricked them into a situation or misled them into a situation, because how would I feel if that was done to me?
Yeah.
Same way if, like, imagine like I got chirped by a trans man and I had no idea. That trans man has the obligation to tell me that he's a trans man.
Right.
Because if I find out later, I'm going to be upset. Not because you're a trans man, but because you lied.
And you didn't tell me.
You didn't tell me.
Like, but some people have the opinion, though, that I'm not lying. I just don't feel... Because I've heard this before. I've, like, watched interviews where people will say, I don't need to say anything because... Again, it's that whole, I identify as a woman, therefore I am a woman. I've, you know, some people who've gone as far as to have the surgeries and everything. So they feel as though, why do I need to tell you that I'm a trans woman? This is what I identify as.
The thing is, if you have an inkling that the person that you're talking to or about to date or about to be intimate with, and you feel like you can't be honest, that person you don't need to be opening your foot for. Wow. You don't.
Yeah.
I'm not going to waste your time. What is the point in getting to know someone? Like, but that will be the deal breaker. You get to know each other, you really like each other, everything's going really well, and then you tell him that. It's all done. It's all finished. For what? So you, like, that's not a person that wants to be with you or would ever want to be with you.
Right.
So give them the choice from the beginning. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? You're there lying down with someone who does not need to be with you. Does not want to be with you. Should they know the truth, they would not be with you. Yeah. So why do you want to waste your time? Yeah.
I mean, it's so interesting because some people are literally like, yeah, I stay tricking guys. I stay, you know, we've heard it before. We've heard it before where there's been some trans women who have made comments and said, yeah, that's what I do. I like to trick. You know, that's just the way it is. What are some of your opinions on women that genuinely, or trans women that genuinely are like, yeah, so what? It is what it is. It's part of the fun, part of the game.
Then you must have death wish. Because it's true. Like, honestly, honestly, I just think like, that is not all trans women. Right. And men do deserve to have a choice whether you want to be intimate with a trans woman or not.
Yeah, fair enough. And I do have to ask you, who are the people that you would say you look up to? Is there anyone that you would say you think, wow, you are a great representation of being a trans woman?
Carmen Carrera, like she's so beautiful. Like, I love her. Gorgeous. She's very well spoken. I feel like she isn't messy. She gets her own point out there. I feel like she was underrepresented in the Breakfast Club interview. She didn't really get to talk that much because all the focus was on Malik. Right. But I think she's very intelligent. So I love Carmen Carrera massively. Janet Mock, I love Janet Mock. I feel like every interview she does, she speaks so elegantly. Yeah. And she just makes a lot of sense. Again, like, she's not there for clout or to get a laugh out of anyone. It's genuine education. Yeah. So yeah, they would be my top two.
So yeah, again, what would you say to either side?
I would say, first of all, if someone is transitioning or is transgender and they feel like they can't talk to anyone or they're going through a tough time, I think that one of the best outlets for myself personally was therapy. There was a time where I was depressed. I didn't leave my house for 8 days. Wow. I was scared. I was just scared. I had so much anxiety. I thought if I could leave the house, I'm going to be attacked. And I don't know why.
Because you grew up in East London, right? And East London, I mean, to some degree, people with different beliefs, etc. Were people quite tolerant, or were you quite afraid of what people would say?
I think it was a mixture of both. There's some days where I feel like the baddest gal out there, and then there's other times that I literally was like looking through the peephole. Oh my gosh, so it just jumps up and down all the time. So I would just say, like, seek therapy, try and surround yourself with great positive people, and yeah, it's a journey. Like, enjoy it, because you have to take the rough with the smooth, always. Be grateful for everything that you have,
definitely,
and things will come. I think with people who don't share that opinion, or they feel like they don't agree with people who are transgender, I mean, by all means, be respectful, and I think that you're happy to express your opinion to your friends, to people that you surround yourself with, because realistically, it's not important. If it's not in your life, it's not important. So why are you like, you're forcefully putting your opinion out there, which is negative, which can create all types of danger, in a sense. So be mindful of that. Do you know what I mean? Because it can start off as a word, or you cussing someone, or like going for someone, and it can escalate quite quickly.
Escalates into something bigger.
So just be mindful. If you and your friends sit around the table and talk shit about people and different minorities, that's down to you. But I think in public, just be more mindful of, you know, and just be a bit more respectful.
Yeah, I could honestly sit and talk to you for hours and hours, and I have so many more questions, but don't worry, when we come off, I'm going to keep talking to you anyway. But thank you so much for joining us today. You have been honest, you've been open, you have been yourself, and that's all I really wanted. When we spoke, I just said, listen, I just want to ask questions and you just be yourself. So I appreciate you for being that.
Thank you. I honestly really, really appreciate you as well.
No, thank you so much. And there you have it. I think the main two things that we've probably learned from this interview is respect and love. Even if we have differing opinions, even if you don't necessarily believe in something that someone else is doing, at least if you have the love and respect for them, that's how we can continue as one community in this one world. So thank you so much again to Drew, and thank you so much to every single one of you for watching. We'll see you again next time.